My name is Jared Balog. I'm a special makeup effects artist. For as long as I can remember, I've been into special effects. People have been asking me that. They're like, "How'd you get into special effects?" And I can't remember anymore. I really can't. I know what was some of the first things that I was seeing. I remember seeing Michael Jackson's Thriller, the making of. That was pretty cool. There was a From Star Wars to Jedi making of, and I'm trying to think what else. There was a couple behind the scenes videos that I started watching, and I was just like, wow, that's really cool. Somebody actually does all that stuff. So I can kind of remember that. But that's what got me into it, and then I just, it was interesting. It's cool. Everybody likes special effects. So. Horror films, a lot of horror films, stuff from the 80s, so Italian, zombie stuff, slasher movies, stuff like that. Yeah, that was the cream of the crop, what I was watching growing up. Fantasy stuff too, just, 80s, Back to the Future, stuff like that. So. Again, going back to the videos, I first watched behind the scenes stuff, and then from there, like a lot of people bought, which I did too, is I bought Tom Savini's Grand Illusions books 1 and 2, and those things give you tons of information. So that trial and error with, doing stuff yourself and making mistakes. For the longest time, I couldn't make a 2-piece mold to save my life. I remember being 12 or 13 trying to make a mask mold and just not crying, but getting to that point where I was like, I can't do this. Why can't I make a 2-piece mold? But a lot of just trial and error. But yeah, it's all self-taught videos, books. That's, get an experience like that. A few dozen. I don't know off the top of my head. Just not all films, short films, music videos, web series. So if you add it all together, it's a few dozen. So this film I did, The Last Frankenstein, was probably the most challenging because I was doing 2 full head prosthetic character makeups, and they're just very involved, and they were pieces, and my main thing that I'm always fighting with is deadlines. So that was the most challenging to get that done in enough time, and still make it look half decent or whatever. So that's probably the most challenging so far. There's always stuff that's just challenging just because deadlines are always horrible, so it makes everything challenging. It makes everything challenging. We do something simple, and it's if I gotta have it done by next Tuesday, that's challenging. But yeah. In terms of how much man hours I had to put into it and challenging to make sure I make sure I didn't screw up any of the molds, that was it. It depends on what I'm doing. So say I have a creature makeup I gotta do on somebody's face, I'll usually come in about 2-3 hours early with them and pretty much apply their makeup, and then they're good to go for call time, which, let's say call time's at 8, so we're there a few hours early to do that. And then the rest of the day for me is, if I don't have any other gags going on or anything like that, I'm just following them and kind of touching their makeup up, because stuff around the eyes will start to rub off, around the mouth gets worn out really easy, especially if, when people eat, for lunch breaks and stuff. So that's kind of what I do if it's more prosthetics run. Blood gags is just a matter of them, being we're going to shoot the gag, so you got 15 minutes to get ready for that. So, that's typical, on set. Prepping for a movie is a little bit different before I bring stuff to the set. So let's say, again, going back to doing creature makeup on somebody's face, there's the whole process of casting their face, sculpting the look of the creature, whatever it is, then molding it, then casting the foam, and then pre-painting it sometimes. So there's a decent process that goes into it before you even get on set too. So yeah, let's see, Dick Smith is probably number one. The guy's, he's called the godfather of special makeup effects. So He's the big one. I really like Rob Bottin stuff. It's really cool. I mean, Rick Baker, Tom Savini. I'm trying to think who else. There's tons of them. They're all, I mean, you know, I look up to all of them, so, yeah. I think John Carpenter's a thing. That stuff still holds up to this day. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, and then I don't know. There's some subtle stuff too that I think is amazing that people don't even know about, which again, going back to Dick Smith, for Taxi Driver, Robert De Niro was actually wearing a bald cap for the shaved mohawk, and like nobody knows that. It's like he's totally got a bald cap on. I guess he had another production he had to do like right after, so there's no way he was going to be able to shave. So Dick Smith made him a bald cap. And if you go back to that and watch that scene in the hallway when he's shooting stuff, if you look when he goes like this to the side, you can see it starting to pull and stuff like that. It's pretty funny. But yeah, I think The Thing is like, that's, yeah, top tier. Yeah, you know, I was trying to think of that. Like, nothing crazy has ever really happened. I remember the first film that I worked on that I did effects for. There was, let's see, I think it was like 19, and let's see, there's this character that was cutting this woman's back, and he was like peeling skin off of, and it was a closed set because she was naked. And so I'd have to go out there, and she was lying on her back, or lying on her front, but I'd have to go out there and I prepped it, and then I have to get like right back out of there. And I was doing the film actually with my brother. Like, we were both working. I was double duty. I was doing a PA stuff and doing makeup stuff. And I remember it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I did that, and I had to run back in there, and I'm waiting for them to shoot that. And we were just kind of sitting there, kind of like looking around. My brother's like half falling asleep. I'm like, yeah, this is pretty cool. I think I might keep doing this for a while. Like, I like this. This is interesting. The film I just worked on, Shelmont, we were chainsawing 3 people's heads off, and when we did it, it's one of those effects, like, I love when this stuff pops up, because there's certain effects that I still haven't done yet that I'm like, all right, cool, I get to finally do this, because again, like, I love 80s films, and I'm so used to seeing a lot of the 80s stuff. Like, so for this film that I just worked on, we did like a couple gags that are from the 80s that they did a lot, which one was, we had a dummy head that we shot with a shotgun. Like, we used a real shotgun and blew it away, and like we did it in the woods, and it was fun and safe, whatever. But like, that was just insane to watch, to see just this head just completely just get destroyed. But going back to the chainsaw thing, yeah, seeing that happen, seeing somebody use a real chainsaw and saw into these dummy heads, and then, I mean, everything's hooked up with tubes, and so blood's spraying at the same time, and we put like ground beef in there to make it like really meaty and stuff. So seeing this person cut into that stuff, and then just crap hitting the walls and everything, I mean, that was a little surreal. I was just like, I can't believe I'm just sitting here, like, because I had a fire extinguisher full of blood, just sitting here pushing it while they're sawing into a head. So seeing that was just like, oh my god, like, this is insane. Like, the first one we did too, the guy just starts chainsawing it across the neck, and like, just this line of blood just starts spraying across the wall. You could see like his line of the chainsaw was against the wall with the blood. That was crazy. That was pretty insane. That was very surreal. I wouldn't always encourage it, because there's just certain things that makeup can't do that digital can. The plus side, the reason that practical are really good to have is because there's something physical for the actor to work off of, as opposed to having like a green tennis ball that actors have to act to, and it's supposed to be a dragon or whatever. But on the flip side of that, digital, I think, is not the worst when it's used in unison with the special effects. So like, if you got to take stuff off of people's face, you can only go so far down if you're sculpting. Like, I can't go into my cheek, but if you put a little bit of green screen there and you have some makeup over it, you can get deeper into the skin, like stuff's missing. So I mean, that's got its benefit. I mean, digital is way overused. I don't know. I've heard it's not even cheaper sometimes, so I don't know what the reason is behind it. Maybe they just have more. I think they have more control in post. Going back, I like to do something that's like closer to like The Thing, like some crazy like creature prosthetic stuff. I feel like I've done a lot of traditional stuff that you're used to seeing, like zombies, you know, a lot of blood gags. Those are, I mean, they're fun, they're cool, but like something that's, you know, total monster creature related. I haven't gone to like that extreme yet. So that would be ideal. I think I'd really like to do something like that if ever given the opportunity. Yeah. You want to start sculpting as soon as you can. However old you like you. The one thing that you can't go is like you can't go out and like if somebody wants you to make let's say a lizard face. You really can't go out there and buy it, you know? Like, you might be able to find, like, one company that makes something close to it, but if the director wants something very specific, you gotta go and you gotta sculpt it, and you gotta, you know, cast it and create the foam piece, and how are you gonna do that? Like, you gotta sculpt it, so you gotta really know how to sculpt. A lot of the other stuff is just, you know, learning to mold make. I'm not the greatest mold maker, but I'm a mold maker. I can make mold stuff, but sculpt, you gotta learn how to sculpt. I think it's, like, the big thing, yeah. Man, that was a good question whenever I was looking at it. I don't know, to create something new and original and then also be satisfied at the end of the day after I've created it, as opposed to creating something and then looking back on it and being like, I could have done such a better job, which is pretty much what artists do anyway, but I don't know, I feel like that would be the most satisfying, is to create something and then still years later be like, that was still pretty badass, that was still pretty freaking cool. So yeah, I think so.